Incredible news coming out of Israel today. Confirmation through dental records, through DNA, through on-site verification that Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, the mastermind of the October 7th massacre, is dead. It's a lot of celebrations in Israel and around the world this afternoon. And we've got our friend Brian Lilley, who is in the United States of America at the moment, heading back to Canada. And Brian, what is your reaction?
This can only be seen as good news. Of course, groups like Sammy Doon, which are still operational in Canada despite being declared a terrorist group, they will denounce this. Many of the people that we see marching in the streets, that our colleagues in the media continue to refer to simply as pro-Palestinian protesters, well, those protests this weekend will be honoring Sinwar. We have a fifth column inside of our own country, Warren, and it is a group of people who support terrorism. And we're going to see that come out, just like we saw come out when Nasrallah, Hezbollah was killed, when other terrorist leaders have been killed. This is a major victory for Israel. They've taken out the senior leadership of Hezbollah. They're taking out the senior leadership of Hamas. All the people that say they want a free Palestine, well, this is your chance. Get rid of Hamas. If you want to free Palestine, free them from Hamas. Israel has not been in Palestine, or not been in Gaza. They weren't from 2005 until the October 7th terrorist attacks. The oppressors of the people in Gaza are Hamas. Sinwar being killed is a good thing.
Now, Brian, what do you think about the likelihood of peace now? Certainly, the Americans reports already that they're going to be pressuring the government of Israel, saying, look, you've taken out the head of the snake. You've defeated the guy who oversaw the October 7th atrocities. Now's time to start talking about peace. What do you think the likelihood is of something like that happening?
Well, look, despite what many have reported, it's not as if the Netanyahu-led government, and it's not a Netanyahu government in whole, it is a coalition government, and he remains the prime minister. It's not like they have not made offers for ceasefires and for peace. It has been Hamas that has habitually said no. And so what I encourage everyone to do is, whatever your feelings about Benjamin Netanyahu, and there are plenty of Israelis that do not want the man in power anymore, but don't want to deal with that issue until the war is over. Well, put your feelings for him aside and look at what's actually on the table. If peace is going to happen, it will be because Hamas finally accepts it. You can only offer peace if you've got a willing partner on the other side, and Israel has not. And Netanyahu could have been replaced a year ago. We'd still be in the same situation because the leadership of Hamas have continually and habitually said no, or they would say yes, but, and they would put in conditions that were completely unacceptable, like not releasing the hostages. Quite frankly, I worry there are no more hostages to release at this point, but that's another question. They will have to admit to that as part of their peace process if that is the case. Peace will only come if Hamas accepts it. Israel can offer, but they can't force Hamas into peace unless Hamas refuses, and then Israel forces them to peace through complete and devastating destruction of that terrorist organization.
So let's talk about the hostages for a moment, because you and I have both been in Israel in the past year, and we know how important the hostages are to the people of Israel and to Jews around the world. The report that we've got from Defense Minister Gallant is that no hostages were found near Yahya Sinwar. He had been surrounding that himself reportedly for the past year with hostages. The six that were found killed at the end of August were apparently the ones that were surrounding him. Today, no hostages nearby. What do you think that means in terms of the future? Do you believe, as you suggested a minute ago, that the chances of us getting back hostages alive is a dim prospect?
Look, every day since October 7th has diminished the prospects of all hostages coming back. And I'm sure you saw the reports, as I did, that yes, Sinwar was not only surrounding himself by hostages, but had a bag of dynamite with him at all times, or some type of explosive bag set to go off in the event that they were going to capture him. It would be to explode not only himself, but the hostages as well. So, it's good that they didn't find hostages Hopefully, there are some still there, but each passing day, it becomes less and less likely. As I said earlier, there's only one way for this to end, and that is with either Hamas surrendering or agreeing to peace terms that they've previously said no to.
Final question. So Iran is the head of the snake, really, of Hamas and Hezbollah, the Houthis, and a number of these extremist and terrorist organizations around the world and in the Middle East. Now, Iran surveying the situation, they've lost the leadership at Hamas, they've lost the leadership at Hezbollah. Does Iran say this is a war that has gone too far? Do they pull back from the brink here, or do they continue to provoke Israel?
Leadership of Iran is very difficult to decipher. Um, some of them are part of a faction known as the Twelvers, and to them, this is messianic. How much sway the Twelvers have at this point, I don't know. In addition to taking out the leadership of Hamas and Hezbollah, the United States also just struck the Houthis very hard. First time in years that was the B-17 bomber was sent in, took out tunnels filled with munitions the Houthis have been using. That was a good show of force by the United States to say, okay, enough. You're not going to continue to bomb international shipping lanes, attacking British, American, and other international cargo vessels, which they've been doing at will. They too are part of the multi-headed attack on Israel, all funded and directed by Iran. We have to deal with Iran. The agreement that Obama went into years ago was a mistake. It was a mistake for Biden to reverse Donald Trump pulling out on that. That allowed Iran to go in and fund all of these operations in a way that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. We need to deal with Iran. They are the cause of all of these problems in the Middle East. And I think that the West will find willing allies in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, and elsewhere for going in and taking care of that, because Iran is a threat to them as much as they are to the United States, to Israel, to any Western country. They're a threat to everyone in the region.
Excellent insight. Brian Lilley, have safe travels back home. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all of your favorite platforms and follow us on YouTube. Brian Lilley, thank you.
Thank you.